Slaughter the man. Our sons. We will punish him. We will have our revenge.
Surprise!
God, I was just leaving you a message.
I wanted to surprise you.
Well, you succeeded. Welcome to Istanbul.
Mom, look at this.
Oh, it's beautiful. Dad's the best, huh?
Yes, he is.
He's here. I want all three of them alive.
Listen to me carefully, Kim. Your mother is going to be taken. People are going to come for you, too.
What are you going to do?
What I do best. Where is he?
You have 30 minutes.
This is not a game. I will finish this thing. You'll just have to die.
And welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 5 films that make up October 5th of 2012. And we start off, of course, with the biggest new release, and that is Taken 2, a sequel to 2009's breakout hit, with Liam Neeson back again as retired CIA officer Brian Mills, and ends up with his family in Istanbul, including his ex-wife, played by Famke Janssen, and his daughter, played by Maggie Grace, and surprise, surprise, it's another Here We Go Again sequel where he's kidnapped along with his ex-wife and by the father of one of the men he killed while saving his daughter 2 years earlier. So the movie essentially is, you know, let's do a role reversal this time around. Instead of the daughter getting kidnapped, we're going to have the parents getting kidnapped, and it's Maggie Grace's job to save the day. And credit for at least trying something different, but you pretty much have taken The Hangover Part 2 right here, pretty much, because this is very much the same movie as the last film, except the roles are reversed, and yeah, it's definitely a Here We Go Again sequel, where it's literally a film where everybody's been reduced down to where they were before. Nothing has changed from the events of the last film. It's like the last film never even happened. And like with the first film, which was unlike the first film, which was a really good movie that really took a lot of people by surprise. This is about what you expect for a movie like this. A film that just takes the same storyline we've seen before in the last movie and done it in the same way, but less than spectacular than what happened the first time around. Yeah, nothing of intrigue happens in here. Nothing amazing happens in this. This is a pretty lousy film in general here, but to its credit, it is definitely the better of the two Taken sequels that we're going to get to, because Taken 3, oh man, what a mess that is, but actually, no, I take that back. Taken 3 is probably a better movie than Taken 2, mostly because of the so bad it's good levels of craziness that goes on in there. Taken 2 is just kind of a bland sequel in general, and I'll explain Taken 3 once we get to 2015, but yeah, I would say Taken 3 is probably the more enjoyable movie. Not a great movie at all, but one of those great so bad it's good movies. This is just a typical mundane sequel to a great film that they ruined by making another one and tried to make it into a franchise, and let's just say that, sadly, that did not work out very well for them, so take that for what you will. So anyway, that's Taken 2, and now let's get to the good stuff. Probably the best movie of the entire weekend, and that is Disney's Frankenweenie.
Sparky's a great dog, a great friend.
The best dog a kid could have.
When you lose someone you love, they never really leave you. He'll always be in your heart.
I don't want him in my heart. I want him here with me.
The nervous system is just wires and cables. Even after death, the muscles respond to electricity.
Sorry, boy. Sparky! I can't believe it! I can fix that.
I know.
Know what?
Your dog is alive.
You can't tell anyone. Promise?
Promise.
Victor brought an animal back to life.
With lightning and boom and something big is gonna happen.
Who's responsible for this?
I just wanted my dog back.
We can do better. Bigger.
Rise, Colossus, from your tomb!
Cool.
Victor!
Let's go!
Hang on! Mr. Whiskers is trying to tell us something.
Did you get that out of the litter box?
Oh my. I need your help.
I asked him first.
My problem bigger.
Yeah, he's right.
So, how much do I love Frankenweenie? Let's ask him himself. How you doing, buddy? This is actually a toy I got when we still had a Toys R Us around here. We still had a Toys R Us around this area for about 6 years after I bought this thing. But yeah, I got a Frankenweenie plush from when the movie was coming out, and it's still in the packaging, as you can see. So, yeah, that's how much I love the movie so much. I actually got this after I saw the film. So, let's see if we can put them right here for a little bit here. Maybe we can cover the light a little bit, maybe. Just realize this eye's dirty. I gotta clean it up, but so anyway, Frankenweenie. This is, of course, based off of Tim Burton's original stop-motion film from 1984, back when he was working at Disney as an animator, worked on a couple of Disney animated films from the early 80s. But now it's made into a stop-motion feature, while that was a live-action short, which is actually kind of interesting, that usually you have a live-action feature being made from the animated film at Disney, but it's the other way around this time around. But in this movie, when young Victor's pet dog Sparky, who stars in Victor's homemade monster movies, is hit by a car, Victor just decides to bring him back to life the only way he knows how. But when the bolt-necked monster wreaks havoc and terror in the hearts of Victor's neighbors, he has to convince them and his parents that despite his appearance, Sparky's still the good, loyal friend he's always been. And again, we talked about stop-motion films with Paranorman. Most of them have been really good overall. This one is definitely one that I felt like was really, really well done overall. Again, kind of like with Corpse Bride, it didn't get the proper respect it did back then. It was actually kind of seen as a flop when it came out, but then again, when you release an animated feature in October for kids, it's usually not going to do very well. At least back then it wasn't going to do very well, but times have changed since then. But I just know that this film was not the flop, that was not the hit that they were expecting it to be, but doesn't matter. I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. It's not up there with stuff like Nightmare Before Christmas or Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, but it's still a really good movie. I like the fact that the film follows in the same format as the short film, where it's filmed in black and white. The animation is really good. The characters and creature designs are really impressive to look at. I mean, the third act alone has some really, really cool stuff in this that I haven't seen from Tim Burton in a long, long time. And that's what I give Tim Burton a lot of credit for. He knows what kind of freaky shit will keep us hooked on the screen. I mean, even the story makes no sense whatsoever. I think Alice in Wonderland is one of those perfect examples of that. You got a really good voice casting here. You got Charlie Calhoun, who's really good as Victor. Atticus Schaefer, Brick from the Middle, who's a lot of fun as Edgar. Catherine O'Hara and Martin Short are good as Victor's parents. You got Martin Landau channeling his Bela Lugosi performance from Ed Wood as the teacher. Surprisingly, the one I felt was kind of misused here was Winona Ryder, who kind of plays the sort of love interest for Victor, but she really does not have a whole lot to do, honestly. She's kind of there, and you really could have gotten somebody else to play that role besides somebody like Winona Ryder, but, I mean, it's Tim Burton working with his old crew again, so I guess that makes kind of sense, but the real heart of the movie is watching Victor's relationship with Sparky. You feel that energy, and you really feel bad when Sparky meets his untimely end. I mean, I didn't have a dog when this movie was coming out, so I didn't really know the love between a human and a dog, but I've had my dog now for 10 years, and yeah, I can tell you that the bond between a dog and his human are really, really special, and it really kind of made this movie feel much closer to me overall. Like, I really did feel like there was a lot more to it, watching it again recently than I did the first time I saw it without having a dog. But I will say the only major flaw about the film, honestly, is that it kind of has an abrupt ending. You know, you have the main climax of the film happening, Sparky ends up dying again, they bring him back to life, and then the film's over. Like, we don't really get an epilogue here, and the only really thing that gets resolved is that, hey, Sparky's back, and that's all of it. It's just like, you know, I hate it when a movie does that. I mean, next to the liar revealed and the dream cliche, that's probably my least favorite cliche, when we don't get closure when we should have gotten something. It's the swing vote mentality. Like, it's just like, like, give us an ending here. Like, don't make us go, it's like, give us an ending here. Don't leave it empty like that. I mean, we felt like we should have gotten something there, but, I don't know. To me, I felt like it was a little bit of a major flaw of the film in general, but regardless, Frankenweenie is still a really good film. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. I mean, it's not a perfect movie by any means necessary, but it's definitely one that I feel like deserves a lot more attention overall. Yeah, I really like this little guy right here, and like I said, you can see right here that his eye is kind of dinged up there a little bit here. He's been sitting there for 13 years, but yeah, at some point I'm going to go ahead and clean this up here. But in the meantime, take a look at the trailer for our next movie that we have here, and that is, which is one I forgot about right away. Oh, Lee Daniels' latest film, and that is The Paperboy.
What do you want me to say, man? Gotta get out of there, boy! You put your hands on me again, I'll mess you up!
Somebody will cut your little ass.
I know what you came for. You got what you want.
Jack, I really messed up this time.
Stop fucking me, boy! Right, you son of a bitch! Come on!
Boy, what an interesting decision to go after and you make a movie like Precious, which is much of an Oscar-contending film, but this is taking it to a whole nother level of bizarreness, because this is a really bizarre film. In some ways, it makes it kind of fun, but the other ways, it's kind of stupid. It's based on a true story, based off of a novel called The Paperboy, and it involves a Miami reporter named Ward Jansen, played by Matthew McConaughey, who returns to his hometown in Florida to investigate a murder case involving a death row inmate. And as you see, you have characters played by Zac Efron, Nicole Kidman, David Oyelowo, Macy Gray, John Cusack. Yeah, this is a really, really weird movie from all the different angles, but specifically for Nicole Kidman, who is really horny in this movie. I mean, there's times in this movie where, like she'll just do random things, like she'll rip her stockings off and, like, start masturbating in the middle of a public building and, like, have her clothes off and all that, which, I mean, as a guy, I'll take it, because, like, I mean, I like the fact that even after Nicole Kidman wins the Oscar, you know, usually when you win an Academy Award, it means that, hey, you don't have to take your clothes off anymore, but Nicole Kidman's just like, fuck it, I'll still do it. Like, if she keeps turning out good performances and you know, doing what she does best, hey, who am I going to complain about that? But yeah, she's probably the best thing about this movie. Everybody else in here, like, this is a really odd film in terms of in terms of its story, in terms of the way it decides to play things. It's like a mix between a melodramatic TV soap opera, but it doesn't know what it really. The biggest problem I have with this film, honestly, is the fact that the direction is just all over the place. Like, there's no real sense of what this movie is trying to be. Is it supposed to be a parody? Is it supposed to be a serious drama? It's trying to do both at the same time and just kind of misses the mark on both levels here. I mean, the actors are trying their best with the material given to them, but the problem is the material they're given is not really all that impressive overall. It just feels like kind of a film where you're looking at it and you're going like, what are we doing here? Like, what am I supposed to take away from this? Like, you never really get the sense that you get an understanding of what they're trying to accomplish here, and it really, really feels off on so many levels. Like, it's just a film that really feels like they had no idea what the hell they're doing, and just, it's this director coming off of his biggest success at that point with Precious, but Precious was more straightforward and to the point. This film is just all over the place, but hey, at least he gets back to form with his next movie the next year with Lee Daniels the Butler, which, hey, give him credit for that. But this is a bizarre film, a film that is not really that great, but it's not really terrible either. But it is something that you should probably see just for the oddity of it, because it is a very, very odd film. And speaking of odd films, you can say the same thing about our next movie, and that is Butter.
You can take it down, Laura. You kick her pasty white ass.
I have to go. I want you hanging out with strippers, okay?
Butter is the greatest gift in life. Butter, all you need is a knife.
You people are ridiculous. It's butter. You put it on toast. Oh, and newsflash. It's bad for you. Yeah. I said it out loud.
I mean, Rob Corddry's making a good point, and I cut it off just when they showed the punchline where the butter police, there's literally security escorting the dude Rob Corddry out of the building, which I thought was actually really funny. Sadly, that's one of the only few funny things about this movie in general. This is a movie that was close to being something special, and then it really wasn't. It's about an Iowa State butter sculpture contest and the competitors and onlookers who attend said contest, which there is stuff like this in real life, and yeah, it certainly is a bizarre film to say the least, and it's supposedly a satire of the 2008 Democratic presidential primary, which, okay, it seems like a very odd thing to make a movie to make a parody off of, even though it's 2012, but that is what we got here, and you have a cast that includes Jennifer Garner, Ty Burrell from Modern Family, Olivia Wilde, Rob Corddry, Ashley Greene, Alicia Silverstone, Hugh Jackman, and notably, Yara Shahidi from Blackish. This was actually, I believe, one of her first film roles. I believe it might be her first film role, honestly. I'd have to double check to make sure. But this is directed by Jim Field-Smith, who made She's Out of My League, which also had a lot of problems on its own. It's a movie where it's good, but not as great as it could have been. And this movie definitely is a movie that's a film that could have been something really good, but the tonal shifts really are, like, it has the same problems as The Paperboy. It's such a bizarre concept, and it doesn't know exactly what type of a comedy it wants to be. Does it want to be like an indie film, like a Thank You for Smoking, or something like that, where it's going to also have a satirical edge to it that works? Or does it want to be a quirky little indie film like Little Miss Sunshine? It's trying to be both, and also a little bit of She's Out of My League. It's trying to be all those things, but it can't figure out a tone to go with. And really, it falls apart at the seams because there are not many good laughs in here. I think like the actors they have in here can make for really good entertainment value, but there's just nothing in here to really make them stand out or anything like that. The comedy really isn't that funny, except for the stuff I just talked about, but I mean, the film overall is a bizarre blending of things that could possibly work overall, but it just never works out in 100% all the way through to make me say it's one you want to check out. It's really one where I did kind of feel let down about it the first time I watched it, and yeah, it's really one of those things where there's a good premise in here for something funny. I mean, the idea of a butter sculpture contest being this competitive, that has a lot of potential to be funny, but I just feel like there's never anything that makes it stand out as something that has to be a must-see. It really let me down when I finished watching it. It's just kind of like, oh, that's a bummer. There's a good idea here that could actually make for something funny, but sadly not the case here, so that's a skip on Butter. So let's go ahead and move on to our last one that we have here, and that's the horror anthology, VHS.
Guys, come on!
I like you.
Did you erase it?
Ooh, the VHSs are coming to get you. Ooh. I don't even know why I did that. I see the title of a movie called VHS. I had VHSs around, so what the heck. I'll go ahead and do that. But, yeah, if you're wondering what these tapes were, this was a tape of Honora, which just came out recently. But this is a custom tape. This was someone made this on Etsy, and then it went under Macari, and then an actual VHS tape from the 1980s of the Chipmunk Adventure, the original Chipmunk Adventure, Alvin and the Chipmunks movie. Again, I don't know why I did that. A movie called VHS about it's a horror anthology, so what the hell. But yeah, this is VHS, the first part of a franchise of horror anthologies that actually spawned several movies, including 4 sequels, 2 independent spin-off films, and a mini-series. But this is the first one. They're essentially 5 short horror films built into a frame narrative which acts as its own 6 short horror film. And you have segments directed by some notable horror directors that have made some stuff ever since then. Adam Wingard, who of course went on to direct The Blair Witch and also did Your Next, as well as recently Godzilla vs. Kong, those movies. You have David Bruckner, who did he did The Ritual not too long ago, and he also did The Night House. And he also just did didn't he do Hellraiser 2? Yeah, he did. He also did the recent remake of Hellraiser. You have Ty West, who has made stuff like the House of the Den, The Innkeepers, Pearl, Triple X, Maxine, and today he was announced as the director for the new Johnny Depp Ebenezer A Christmas Carol film. Glenn McQuaid, who went on to go on and direct I Sell the Dead, and also did. I thought he did something else in particular, but no, I guess that's the only thing he's directed that's notable. Joe Swanberg. Joe Swanberg is somebody who's directed stuff like Drinking Buddies and Happy Christmas, and he also did stuff with Greta Gerwig. Who else do we got here? Radio Silence. They should be very familiar to you people out there. They did the Scream films recently. They did Ready or Not, Abigail. So these are young horror directors that we know nowadays getting their first starts with a film like this, and you got 6 different storylines here, and again, with a movie like this, an anthology, more than likely, there's only going to be a couple of shorts that are actually really good, and the other ones are just kind of okay, and that's kind of the feeling with this film in general here. Some of the segments are good, most of them are pretty good, some not so much. I mean, it's a film that kind of works overall because of the unique ideas that they have with it, and there are some legitimately good creepy elements to it. There's a lot of moments in here that did kind of make me jump the first time I saw them. I mean, this is a really solid film. It's an independent film. They do a pretty good job with practical effects in this, surprisingly, and it's something that really kind of works for the most part here. Yeah, a couple segments don't really work as well as they should, but you can tell the effort by these people are definitely in there, and you can tell that they're really putting their best works into it to give you an interesting horror film experience in general. And for the most part, I thought it worked pretty well. I thought it was an okay I thought it was an okay movie. If I had to pick probably the best segment overall, it'd probably be The Sick Thing to Happen to Emily when she was younger. That's the one that really had a lot of elements that really took me by surprise. Just kind of like, wow, there's legitimate jumps in that one that worked kind of to the film's advantage. But overall, it's a good movie. Not everything about it works. Some of the segments kind of peep off a little bit here, but for the most part, it's an enjoyable film. I think it's pretty fun overall. I thought it was pretty good. I definitely recommend checking it out. VHS, definitely seek it out if you haven't seen it already. And beware of the VHSs. Ooh. Okay, I'll stop now.
Our embassy has been seized.
6 of the hostages got out. I need you to help me make a fake movie. You need a script. You need a producer. I fly into Tehran. We all fly out together as a film crew. Right. You have 72 hours to get them out. This is what I do, and I've never left anyone behind. I know who they are. It's overtime. Let's go make a movie. Fargo, rated R.
And welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 5 films that make up October 12, 2012. And we start off, of course, with the Best Picture winner of the year, and that is, of course, Argo. In 1979, the American embassy in Iran was invaded by Iranian revolutionaries, and several Americans are taken hostage. However, 6 managed to escape the official residence of the Canadian ambassador, and the CIA is eventually ordered to get them out of the country. With few options, exfiltration expert Tony Mendez, played by Ben Affleck, devises a daring plan to create a phony Canadian film project looking to shoot in Iran and smuggle the Americans out as its production crew. With the help of some trusted Hollywood contacts, Mendez creates the ruse and proceeds to Iran as its associate producer. However, time is running out with the Iranian security forces closing in on the truth, while both his charges and the White House have grave doubts about the operation themselves. So, kind of imagine a serious version of something like a Wag the Dog, kind of. I mean, pretty much the same type of movie here, except this time around they're not making a movie so they can cover up a big thing that was going on with the president. They're doing this to save these hostages, and And you really can't talk about this movie without talking about Ben Affleck, who had one of the greatest comeback stories in film history. Here's a guy that wins an Oscar for co-writing Good Will Hunting, but his career never really took off after that point, leading to such big bombs like Geely and Jersey Girl, Paycheck, Surviving Christmas. You know, after bombs like that, he takes a break from Hollywood. Then he gets to do something like a Hollywoodland, where he gets to return to some form. And then he goes on to become one of Hollywood's best directors with Gone Baby Gone, and then, as I mentioned before, The Town. I mean, when you talk about great comeback stories, Ben is definitely somebody who has had one of those great comeback stories. And Argo, I think, is definitely a film that is continuing to show the growth of this guy as a director as a whole. I mean, this movie knocks it out of the park big time. This is such a really good movie, and it shows that, once again, Ben Affleck is a great actor. He's surrounded by a really good cast that includes Bryan Cranston, John Goodman, Alan Arkin, who are all really good in here. The hostages are really good, too. One of them played by Carrie Bishie, who you might recognize from the last season of Scrubs, and let's just say she came a long way from that. She actually gave one of the best performance out of all the people who are playing the hostages in here, and really she's come a long way since Scrubs and all that, but this really is one of the best movies I've seen all year. It's a taut and thrilling action movie with a lot of tension, a lot of good acting from all the major actors. They do a really good job of capturing the time period of the late 70s, early 80s, from clothing style to just how different things would look like back then. The final climax, I think, is good, but it does feel a little bit anticlimactic again. You kind of expect something a little bit bigger to happen, but nevertheless, it's a really satisfying film overall. This is definitely one of the year's best movies, easily. I'm glad that it won Best Picture that year, even though I would have liked Silver Linings Playbook to win that. We'll get to that in a couple months or so, but it's still my favorite movie. It's still one of my favorite films of the year. I mean, it's a movie that really is very much well done. It's a smartly written movie, well acted, overall tension-filled, great movie. One of the year's best films, easily. So that is Argo, so let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is Sinister.
Within the home movies of 5 murdered families lives a terror.
Who are you?
No one can escape.
I'm just worried about you.
Something was in the house.
A deity named Bagul actually lived in the images themselves.
What is happening? Sinister, rated R, in theaters October 12th.
Yeah, here's Scott Derrickson really showing off his true potential as a filmmaker, and not with movies like The Exorcism of Beverly Rose, even though that one's not that bad, but it's definitely The Day the Earth Stood Still is a major misfire from him. But hey, when you get to work with somebody who worked at Spill.com, I mean, it's a match made in heaven, pretty much. I mean, these are the guys that made the Black Phone movies, so they clearly know what they're doing here. You have Ethan Hawke in this, and speaking of the Black Phone, Ethan Hawke is in here, the Grabber. He's a struggling true crime writer whose discovery of snuff films depicting gruesome murders and strange supernatural elements in his new house puts his family in danger. And so, yeah, it's a movie that it works mostly because it feels like a good, authentic horror movie. I think it works because it's a movie that uses old school horror cliches, but is being very clever about them. There's a lot of great characters you can relate to in this movie, genuinely effective scares that don't rely specifically on jump scares. I mean, pretty much what was wrong with most horror movies back then. I mean, I could say it nowadays, but then again, 2025 has been an outstanding year for horror films, with one of them being The Black Phone 2. But I digress. Another key part of the first film's rousing success overall is that it comes from the writing of Derrickson and Cargill, who clearly have an idea of what makes for good horror, and the production style of Jason Blum. You know, this is him coming off of Paranormal Activity and Insidious, coming off and slowly building his own craft, and the thing that would make him become the success that he has been since then with all the films he's done at Blumhouse. I mean, he makes smart, intelligent, and entertaining horror films such as this one, mixing it with the ones that just plain suck. But this one in particular does not feel like a film that feels like a new age horror film. I mean, Jason Blum and them clearly know what they're doing. Not always, but more times than not, they've been very successful at what they've been doing. This is definitely a film that works very well to the advantages of everybody involved in here. It's a really good movie, a really good scary film. I love it. I love this movie. I even like the second one, which a lot of people don't really like. And I like what these guys did with the Black Phone and Black Phone 2. I thought these films were really good, and it really got me, somebody who was not much into horror movies at that point, to really come into these and realize, wow, I'm really enjoying the hell out of these movies more than I should. I mean, it's a really good film that gives Ethan Hawke a good leading role in here. And like I said, it doesn't resort to cheap horror cliches. There are reasons for them to be in this film. I think it works very well to the film's advantage, and it just makes for a very good film overall. I can't recommend this one enough. Sinister, terrific, terrific film. So we had some good movies. Now let's get to the sucky ones. Here comes our next movie, which is Here Comes the Boom.
We have a very interesting debut tonight. Scott Voss, a biology teacher from Boston. The good news, he was a Division I college wrestler. The bad news, that was 20 years ago. I'm good.
Do you really think that you could save the music program by doing this?
Thank you, Mr. Voss.
You got it, bud.
That was fun, no?
Here comes the boom. What if I dunk this ball, then you have dinner with me?
Deal. That's cheating.
That go in?
And that right there should be a sign of why this movie doesn't work. But I'll give it this. It certainly is a lot better than a lot of the other Happy Madison productions, especially ones with Kevin James involved in it. It stars James as a biology teacher who attempts to save his school's music program by becoming an MMA fighter. Seems like you're doing a bit much here. I mean, that premise alone just feels like so much is going on there. It's just like, it's a biology teacher who's trying to save the music program by becoming an MMA fighter. I mean, it's basically saying we're going to make a horror movie about a guy who has to go into a haunted house to save the school because they're going to take away the educational program and something like that, and he has to wear like a pink tutu or something while he's doing it. It's just like, why are we doing this? Fuck it, we don't know. I mean, none of this makes any sense whatsoever. But then again, I'm looking at who wrote this movie. Alan Loeb. Yeah, the same man that gave us great stuff like The Dilemma, Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, Just Go With It. So yeah, I think you could pretty much tell that this movie was kind of doomed from the get-go. But like I said before, this is actually one of the better Kevin James movies. I mean, this is not a great film, but it certainly beats the crap out of something like Zookeeper. Hell, it's a better Adam Sandler-produced comedy than half the movies that came out last year. All the movies that came out last year were worse than this was better than those movies easily. But at the same time, yeah, it's not something I would say it's a great film overall. And Kevin James is doing the best he can in here. I like Kevin James. I don't think he's the worst thing about these movies. They just keep giving him really bad scripts to work with, even though technically he wrote the script for this one. So kind of a fall in this one here. But like I said, he's enough of an entertaining personality where he can make a movie like this passable at best. And that's probably the best way to describe this film. It's passable. It's nothing amazing. It's nothing grand or spectacular. But it's not one I'm going to watch over and over again. For a one-time watch, it's just kind of like, this isn't that good, but I'm glad I saw it. I mean, I'm glad to see that it wasn't as terrible as I thought it was going to be. I mean, it's fine for what it is. You expect so much more with Kevin James involved in it, but unfortunately, he's with the Happy Madison crew, which basically means they're going to take as much of his talent away as they can, and give him these crappy movies to work on here. And still plenty of those to come, so stay tuned for that. But at least this one's passable at best. Nothing spectacular, nothing amazing, so take that for what you will. So there you go. That is Here Comes the Boom. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie that we have here, Seven Psychopaths.
Okay, here we go.
Seven Psychopaths is the winner of the Toronto Film Festival's People's Choice Award. It has one of the best ensemble casts in years. The serious Christopher Walken is hysterically funny. Okay. Woody Harrelson delivers a nicely deranged performance. When were you gonna mention this? Colin Farrell is at the top of his game.
Well, that's just great.
And Sam Rockwell explodes off the screen. What's it called?
Seven Psychopaths?
Seven Psychopaths. Rated R.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Christopher Walken while watching this movie. I don't care. Like, in my best Christopher Walken voice, I don't care. Wow. I don't know. But yeah, this was kind of a letdown. You have a struggling screenwriter played by Colin Farrell who inadvertently becomes entangled in the Los Angeles criminal underworld after his friends played by Christopher Walken and Sam Rockwell kidnap a gangster's beloved Shih Tzu, the gangster being played by Woody Harrelson. I mean, all these people could make for a really good movie, but they're really not given a whole lot to do here. And this is directed by the same guy that gave us In Bruges, which was a very unique, very clever crime comedy that works very well with the actors involved in it. And I felt like this felt like the mainstream version of it, like somebody was trying to make a mainstream version of In Bruges, and just kind of feels it kind of feels like they're trying way too hard to pull off another Pulp Fiction-esque type of film. I mean, if you want to do something cool and unique like this, go look at a movie like Lucky Number 11, which at least tries to steer away from the Pulp Fiction formula and works pretty well with it. Smoking Aces is another example of it, but watching this movie here, I never really got the sense that everybody's A-game was involved in this. You got a lot of good performers in here, not just the four I mentioned, but Tom Waits, Abby Cornish, Olga Kurylenko, Zelko Janovic from Damages and Vantage Point. A lot of good people involved here. Mark McDonagh can be a very good director, but I felt like this was one of his lesser films in general. But then again, it's also a CBS Films movie, so this kind of felt like the CBS pilot version of a Pulp Fiction TV series, where we're gonna make it safe and marketable, kind of like a Lethal Weapon, Rush Hour type of show. And yeah, that's what it kind of felt like when I watched this movie. It just kind of felt like nobody's real A-game was involved in this one here in terms of the story and it. But the actors are trying. It's not a bad movie, but it's definitely a film that leaves a lot on the table, pretty much. So that is Seven Psychopaths, and let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here, and that is Atlas Shrugged 2, The Strike.
This. If you feel you have the right to use force against me, bring guns.
Time is running out.
Who or what is John Galt? Is he even a man?
Or an idea.
Who is John Galt? Who gives a fuck? That's the answer here, because clearly this movie does not give a fuck, because they've replaced every single actor from the first movie, which only came out last year, with entirely new people. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it's supposed to be a sequel, and yet nobody from the first film came back. Everyone looked at that first film and went like, oh, fuck you, I'm not coming back for this one here. So, I think get all these people in here, honestly. But then again, I wouldn't expect much from a television director, John Putch, from Scrubs and American Pie direct-to-DVD movies, to be the person that would get the top-tier actors that they have in this film. But the global economy... Toy boat? The global economy is on the brink of collapse. Unemployment tops 24%, gas is $42 per gallon, railroads are the main transportation, brilliant creators from artists to individualists are mysteriously disappearing. Dagny Taggart, CEO of Taggart Transcontinental, has discovered an answer to the mounting energy crisis, a prototype of a motor that draws energy from static electricity, but until she finds its creator, it's useless. It's a race against time and someone is watching. Well, I'm glad somebody is watching, because we sure shit aren't. But look at the names they have in here. Samantha Mathis, Esai Morales, Diedrich Bader. Well, Diedrich Bader's not a bad actor. I have nothing bad against anybody involved here, but look at the cast they have here. Samantha Mathis, Esai Morales, Diedrich Bader, Patrick Fabian, who, of course, went on to go star in Better Call Saul, Ari Gross, Michael Gross, Bug Hall, Alfalfa from the Little Rascals, which, yeah, he was in the one that I think John Putch directed, the American Pie movie, The Book of Love. I mean, wow, this movie would have been a success back in 1992, not 2012, 20 years later. I mean, like, it's already bad enough. Oh, and D.B. Sweeney, because everyone loves D.B. Sweeney back in 1992 again, but not now. It's just like, what were they thinking with this? I mean, you could tell that somebody really wanted to try to make this movie. And, I just love the fact that the first movie was such a big flop, and yet they were so committed to make this movie that they had a private debt sale to raise the $16 million or the $25 million that they wanted for this. So they had to cut that budget down from $25 million to $10 million, and yet they still made this pile of garbage. And this started filming back in April of 2012. So it literally took them, what? April, May, June, July, August. 6 months. 6 months to make this movie. They took the disaster movie. They took the Freeburg Seltzer route here with Disaster Movie and Vampires Suck. And it's just like, what are we doing here? But then again, this is a movie that also includes a cameo by Sean Hannity. So I think it's pretty obvious which audience they're going for with this here. I mean, I'm looking at some of the other names in here. They have names in here, like Robert Picardo, Ray Weiss, Larissa Oliak, Rex Lynn, Laurie from Entourage, Biff from Back to the Future, Tom Wilson, Teller is in here from Penn and Teller. Like, what even is this movie? Like, this movie is such a mess of a film on so many different levels. What's supposed to be the end result of this whole thing, honestly? Like, what are we supposed to take away from it? I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't think the people that made this movie felt that way either. And so, yeah, Atlas Shrugged Part 2 exists, and just when you thought that the series didn't need another movie, guess what? They made another one, and take a guess on what happened. They recasted everybody again. Again, they recasted everybody. Like, my God. Like, Atlas Shrugged Part 2. What more do I gotta say about it? It's fucking awful.
Hunter. Aunt Katie brought you a present, Hunter.
All this weird stuff's been happening since the new neighbors moved in. It's the new kid from across the street.
That's really weird.
Tell me what's going on. You'll find out. Katie?
Paranormal Activity 4. Read it all. In theaters October 19th.
And welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 3 films that make up October 19th, 2012. And of course we're beginning with the biggest new release of the weekend, Paranormal Activity 4. You know, Paranormal Activity came out 3 years ago. Essentially, you know, became the new Saw, where everybody went to the theater to see what new crazy antics were going to take place in every movie. But hard to believe that it only took 4 movies for the novelty to die out pretty quickly with this one. Because, yeah, this one is definitely the worst of the series up to this point. But trust me, it'll get worse after that. But the story takes place in 2011, 5 years after Katie killed her boyfriend Micah, sister Christy, her husband Daniel, and took their baby Hunter. The story focuses on Alex, played by Catherine Newton, and her family experiencing weird stuff since the new neighbors moved into town. And I think you can figure out where exactly this is going to go from here. And, you know, this is one where the biggest problem with this movie in particular is that it doesn't take any chances, unlike the last 2 Paranormal Activity movies did. They expanded the story. They gave you new creative ways to be scary. This one really felt like they were pushing their luck big time. I mean, a killer Xbox is in this movie. Not even a killer Xbox, but a killer Xbox camera. Like, that's the level of stupidity we've come to with this movie. And really, another big problem with it is that it's trying way too hard to connect back to the original Paranormal Activity movie. It's just kind of like, come on, man. It's just like, you know, after 3 films, the story should be over. Focus on something else. But nope. This is going to continue on and on and on, because every movie of the Paranormal Activity series is connected by the first film. And this one makes little sense whatsoever. And literally, you don't feel for anybody in here, because everybody gets killed off by the end of it, and it's just like, the movie doesn't give a shit. It's just like, here we go again. Like, you know, it's just like, there's nothing there in here. There's no scary elements to it. There's nothing about it that makes it cool or impressive whatsoever. Like, they even opened the door for another Paranormal Activity movie, the next one, The Marked Ones, which is actually a spin-off film. It was Xbox Connect, by the way, not Xbox Camera, but the Xbox Connect was the thing that they used in this. But, you know, the next one, Paranormal Activity, The Marked Ones, is supposed to be a spin-off of Paranormal Activity, but no, it turns out it's actually what happens when it connects back to the ending of Paranormal Activity. Like, I mean, do you get the point here? Trying to connect these together is so ridiculous, because they try to connect everything back to the original movie, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, because even when they do that with the Marked Ones, they do it again with the last film, The Ghost Dimension, and they continue to just fuck it up even more. They took a series that started off so promisingly with the first 3 movies, and they have just completely tarnished it with every passing film that comes after part 3. I mean, this one definitely is the worst of the 4 we've looked at, and it's going to get worse from this point going forward, because just the ways they keep trying to connect this back to every single Paranormal Activity film. Like, every one of these movies has to connect back to the first film, and once you do that, that shit gets old really, really fast. And this one got old really, really quickly. So you get the point. Paranormal Activity, Paranormal Activity 4, really, really bad. Definitely the worst of the films we've looked at so far. And it's going to get worse from here, folks. So stay tuned for that. Speaking of things that get worse from here, new Alex Cross movie's out. Well, how bad can it be? It's Tyler Perry starring as Alex Cross. Okay, that's a little bit of a disappointment. Oh, and Rob Cohen is directing it. You know, the guy that did Triple X. Just like, what?
The #1 author of Kiss the Girls, Alex Cross is an emotional powerhouse. that will keep you on edge.
Detective Cross, you have a very pretty wife.
It's Tyler Perry like you've never seen him before.
Time to deliver some justice.
Best villain of the year, Matthew Fox.
You're taking this personally.
It's a must-see. Alex Cross, rated PG-13, in theaters Friday.
Okay. Those quotes. An emotional powerhouse. You know, when I think of Alex Cross from the other movies in the series, the first thing that doesn't come to my mind is an emotional powerhouse that keeps you on the edge of your seat. I mean, sometimes along, you know, Kiss the Girls and Along Came a Spider did at least keep you on the edge of your seat, but neither one of those movies was an emotional powerhouse. Also, Tyler Perry like you've never seen him before. He's out of the Medea makeup. I've pretty much seen him do that in other films. But the cherry on top of this, the best villain of the year, Matthew Fox. Oh my god. What is this stupid marketing campaign? I am shocked that Sean Edwards' name was nowhere to be found on this, because you know he would have been the one making these quotes, and his name was nowhere to be found on there. So I find that very hard to believe that Sean Edwards didn't even praise this movie here, which he probably would have, but yeah, let's talk about Tyler Perry's attempt to try to branch out of his Medea routine for Alex Cross. So Tyler Perry plays Dr. Alex Cross on his last police duty to track down an assassin called Picasso, played by Matthew Fox, who's been torturing and killing rich businessmen in Detroit. Soon when the mission gets personal, Cross is pushed to the edge of his moral and psychological limits to end this once and for all. Well, he did accomplish one thing. This series ended once and for all because of how stupid this decision was. Look, I'll give Tyler Perry credit for trying to do something outside of his norm. I mean, it's a noble effort. And he's not a bad choice to play Alex Cross, but you're filling the shoes of Morgan Freeman. You have to get somebody who's about half as good as him, and Tyler Perry ain't nowhere near as good as Morgan Freeman is. I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but it's just the cold hard truth here. Second of all, Matthew Fox is not threatening whatsoever. I mean, the guy had a bright future ahead of him after Lost ended with Speed Racer and Vantage Point, and then he just kind of disappeared out of thin air, and all of a sudden he's back in the spotlight with this. He's not threatening in this movie. I mean, it's got a good cast overall. Edward Burns, Rachel Nichols, Cicely Tyson, Giancarlo Esposito, Carmen Ejogo, John C. McGinley, John Renault. A lot of good talent involved in this. The biggest problem to me is the writing and the direction. The fact that this feels more like a TV pilot than an actual movie. Yeah, this feels like a film that is quite literally on the levels of something like, you know, this is a movie that feels like it should have been a CBS TV pilot or an NBC TV pilot. It doesn't feel like a movie that feels like it should be what it's supposed to be with this. I mean, Kiss the Girls and Along Came a Spider are not great movies, but they're at least trying to do something unique and different from the books overall. And the people who hated those movies because they were nothing like the books probably wanted to give Morgan Freeman a sincere apology for saying that, because, yeah, this movie definitely is a pale imitation of the James Patterson books. I mean, this movie is atrociously terrible. I mean, my God. The threat is not threatening here. The action isn't all that good. Tyler Perry just can't hold a cheese plate to Morgan Freeman's Alex Cross. It just doesn't work. It's a movie that flops on so many levels, and it's a reason why we never saw another one of these movies, even though they were going to make another one, but it bombed so hard at the box office, and nobody wanted to go see it, so guess what, Tyler Perry? You're going back to the Medea costume for the rest of your career, So with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here. John Hawkes, Helen Hunt, and William H. Macy in The Sessions.
Would you like me to hear your confession?
My penis speaks to me, Father. This therapist suggested a sex surrogate.
Go for it.
Really?
Critics are raving about The Sessions.
First session, he was extremely nervous.
Think about something else. Baseball, for example.
You mean like hope I make it to second base?
4 stars. It's hilarious.
Shall we get undressed?
Sure.
And destined to be a player at the Academy Awards.
I can get pretty kinky. Am I sharing too much, Father?
Go on. The Sessions. Rated R. October 19th.
So in the story, you've got a man who's paralyzed from the neck down due to polio, so he hires a sex surrogate to lose his virginity, and that person is Helen Hunt, and John Hawkes is the poet here that is paralyzed from the neck down. I mean, he's got the dream position, man. I mean, he's paralyzed and he hasn't had sex, so he gets to have a surrogate played by Helen Hunt be the person that actually tries to make him lose his virginity. It's just like, who wouldn't want to be in that situation overall? I mean, Helen Hunt's still pretty sexy after all these years, even though, Bad About You was over 30 years ago, but, like, she's still looking pretty good, nearing her 50s. I think she's either late 50s or early 60s. Early 60s, 62 years old. I mean, she doesn't look bad for 62 years old, but this was a movie that, was a big Oscar contender overall. It only ended up getting an Oscar nomination for Helen Hunt because she had won before for As Good as It Gets. But this is actually not a bad movie. It's a pretty entertaining film, a quirky little idea here with a really good cast that includes a strong performance by John Hawkes coming off his success with Winter's Bone. I mean, you can never go wrong with Helen Hunt and William H. Macy, Moon Bloodgood, Adam Arkin, Rhea Perlman, W. Earl Brown. So a lot of really good talent involved in this here, and it's a really light breeze watch of a movie. And it's only about an hour and a half long, but it really does make you want to see more of the storyline here. But I mean, it does a good. Even then, it does a good job of kind of containing it down to one film. And by the time it begins, it runs through pretty quickly. Like, you get out of there within like an hour and a half, and you didn't realize that wow, that movie was relatively short, and I kind of want to see more of this. But hey, they did a good job what they had to work with here. This is a really good movie. It's one that not a lot of people really talk about all that much, but it's definitely one I would definitely recommend checking out. Check out The Sessions. It's definitely a film that. If you like John Hawkes, if you like Helen Hunt, if you like William H. Macy, this is a movie that's right up your alley. I think it's a very underrated film. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. The Sessions, definitely check it out.
I can't explain it, but I knew when I opened that door, something important happened. I think the universe is against you.
Cloud Atlas, rated R, in theaters at IMAX, October 26th.
Yeah, we're in for a really, really wonderful week of movies, not when I don't even bother to do an intro, and, this week is definitely not worthy of that. So, welcome to Time About the Movies. Today, we are taking a look at the 4 films that make up October 26, 2012. And we are starting off with our first movie here, Cloud Atlas, a movie that has its head so far of its own ass, when it literally begins with Tom Hanks basically saying, once I opened that door, something important happened. No. Nothing important happened, Tom, except that you and Halle Berry and half the cast of this movie wasted your goddamn time on this pretentious piece of garbage. Cloud Atlas, based off the novel by David Mitchell, it features multiple plots occurring during 6 eras and features an ensemble cast to perform multiple roles across these time periods. This is directed by the Wachowskis, who gave us, of course, The Matrix and Speed Racer, and this is also directed by Tom Twyker, who also gave us Perfume, the story of a murderer in the International. So, a collaboration between the two of them, and a cast that also includes Jim Broadbent, Jim Sturgis, Ben Whishaw, Hugo Weaving, Susan Sarandon, Keith David, Hugh Grant. So there are some notable people in the movie. The problem is they're not really given any goddamn thing to do in this movie. This is an extremely, extremely pretentious piece of garbage because there is no storyline whatsoever that you get invested in. This film is such a mess of a film. It's a sloppy film from the story to the ideas of the movie. You're sitting here for 3 goddamn hours, and you have no idea what the hell you're even doing here. I mean, that's how bad this movie is. I mean, it's so bad I have to adjust the camera to tell you about it, but yeah, you get the idea. This movie is an unbelievable mess of a film, and it's the type of movie that is for the pretentious people, because it has such a polarizing opinion from most people. Some people think of it as one of the year's best films, and one of the people think it's one of the worst films of the year. I'm in that latter category because, yeah, this thing makes no sense whatsoever. Nothing interesting happens in this movie. There are much better movies that have sort of a similar idea that are much better than this pile of garbage. What this movie reminded me of, honestly, was there was a Robin Williams movie back in the 1990s called Being Human, which we did when that movie came out, had the same idea to it, had a much similar idea to it, and I thought worked better, but still wasn't a great movie overall. I mean, having this one actor playing all these different characters through different time periods, and it has the same problems with this movie here. You know, it doesn't have an idea of what's the overall message here. Like, what are we supposed to get across from this? And yeah, in this film, we don't really get that here. It's just, here's all these big actors playing all these various roles. Like, you're watching an extended episode of Saturday Night Live that's even unfunnier than the current era of Saturday Night Live. Well, technically. Okay, the last couple seasons were not that great, but I've actually heard this season that's going on right now, season 51, is actually not that bad, but I don't know, I haven't been watching it yet, but you get the idea. It's a movie that feels like it has its head so far of its own butt, and it just completely misses the point of entertainment value. Like, I mean, they gave the Wachowskis $150 million for this. Like, it's amazing what one movie success will do to these filmmakers, where, you know, you make a big success and then Warner Brothers just writes you a blank check for whatever you want to do, because after this they would later do Jupiter Ascending, and we all know how great that was. Not. But yeah, Cloud Atlas, I think you get the point here. It's a really, really, really bad film, and trust me, we're going to get to a lot of bad films, because like I said, this is a bad week of films. Case in point, our next movie, Silent Hill Revelation.
Silent Hill Revelation. It's just a dream. The only thing more terrifying than her nightmares, they're coming, is discovering.
Oh, you alright?
That they're real.
You did this. How can it be me?
This Halloween.
The darkness is coming.
Run! Prepare for a 3D ride.
Don't be afraid.
Through hell. Silent Hill Revelation 3D. Rated R.
And there's the only reason this movie even exists, because everyone's on the 3D craze, and yeah, this is a completely unnecessary sequel to a movie that, to its credit, was one of the better video game adaptations. It at least felt like the Silent Hill video games. This does not. In this story, you have Heather Mason, now played by Adelaide Clemens, who is discovering on the eve of her 18th birthday that her presumed identity is false, and is drawn to the town of Silent Hill. And so we go back to Silent Hill, and yeah, we basically get a compilation hit list of everything from the Silent Hill games, so people can make the argument that, see, it's a video game adaptation, it's based off the video game, look at all the stuff we threw in there. Okay, you still don't have a goddamn story to tell. Like, I don't care who you throw in there. You want to throw the guy from Game of Thrones, Kit Harington, in here? That's fine. You want Martin Donovan in there? That's fine. Malcolm McDowell? Sure, he'll do anything for a paycheck. Carrie Ann Moss? She's relevant. Deborah Kara Unger, Sean Bean, Rhoda Mitchell? Like, nobody in this movie gave a fuck whatsoever. Whoever this company is that made this movie, I hope they must have a lot of money, because there is no reason to believe that anyone went into this movie thinking that they were going to have something amazing here. No, the studio wanted a 3D horror film, because the trend was still popular at the time, so they looked to see what popular horror film from the past couple of years was still relevant, and someone said, how about Silent Hill? We got a movie, let's go. And yeah, some people might give it credit for the way that it adds in elements to the video game, but I'm sorry, there's no story here to this movie that makes it worthy. This is not a good movie. This is a lackluster film overall, and just as a prime definition of what happens when you take a video game series and hire people that have no interest whatsoever in making a good video game movie, or a studio that has no interest in making a good video game movie based off the source material. I mean, we're still in that time period, folks, where we're getting all these bad video games one by one. We haven't gotten to the point where we're getting to the video game movie revolution later in the decade, where people finally get the idea of how to take these video games and actually make good movies out of them. And the movie that comes out next weekend might be the indication of the things to come with that, because you got a movie that's not based off of a video game, but features a ton of video game characters, but we'll save that for next week. But Silent Hill Revelation, yeah, it'd be a revelation if you don't bother with this movie. So with all of that said, let's get to easily the worst movie of the weekend. And it doesn't seem like that at all, but, you know, Nickelodeon trying to create a super bad comedy for the family audiences with one of its stars, Victoria Justice, one of the hottest young stars who was starring in Suburgatory at the time, Jane Levy. And, yeah, it's a mess of a movie. Let's talk about Fun Size.
Halloween. All the lamos come to school in costumes. Like they have the bat signal. Aaron Riley is crazy hot. You got the invite to his party tonight, right? I noticed you and I are listed in the top 200. I think it's alphabetical. Oh my god, he's coming over.
You're coming to the party, right?
We will definitely be there.
I've been waiting for this my
It's all
whole
falling
life.
into place. Invited to Aaron Riley's party, costume figured out. As for April, I'm betting Sexy Kitty. Which just leaves my little brother, Albert! Gross. Whatever. For once, he's not my problem. Oh no, I forgot to tell you. You're gonna watch Albert tonight. No, Mom, the party! Don't do this to me! I love you, thank you, you're welcome.
Fuck you, Chelsea Handler. Yeah, that's what I'd be saying to her if she was my mother. I don't care if she would be my mother, but fuck you for putting that burden on me because you knew that I was going to this... Because you knew I'd be going to this party and you're going to throw this at the 11th hour with me? Like, no, seriously, go fuck yourself. I'm sorry. Like, I know that's not something you should say to your parents, but I'm sorry. If that was my parents and they threw that on me at the 11th hour, I would be pissed off, but... Not this movie. No. We got to do this because we need to have our own like I said, we need to have our own super bad comedy that, you know, we can take the families to, and that's part of one of the major problems with the movie. You've got a film that stars Victoria Justice from iCarly and Victorious, and she plays this girl whose Halloween plans go awry when she's made to babysit her brother who disappears into a sea of trick-or-treaters. With her best friend, played by Jane Levy, and two nerds at her side, she needs to find her brother before her mom finds out he's missing. So, we're not only taking the concept of adventures in babysitting, but we're also taking the concept of sleepover and license to drive. These adventures that take place, and Superbad, these adventures that take place over the course of one night. And this movie is atrocious. Let me tell you people something. I've only walked out of 4 movies in my lifetime. 2 of them were The Spirit and Aliens in the Attic in 2019. And I can't remember what was the other one I walked out. I don't know, because I walked out of 2 other ones, and now I can't remember it off the top of my head. But I've talked about it before on this channel. But this movie pissed me off because it was so offensively bad and just insulting. I almost walked out of the theater. This is the second movie I've almost walked out of in the last 2 years. The other one was Big Mama's Like Father Like Son, but I didn't because the movie ended before I could get out of there. This movie is awful. This is a terrible, terrible movie. You've got these talented young stars in Victoria Justice, and especially Jane Levy. Suburgatory is a show that not a lot of people really know about. It was on for only about 3 seasons, but it was really good. It was a really funny show, and nobody watched it, which is just... It's a shame, because the show really was really funny, and, you know, I loved her on that show, but, I'll save her for just a second, because she needs to be talked about how bad she is in this film, but, you know, Victoria Justice, she's like Miley Cyrus and Selena Gomez. Yeah, they're best known for their stuff on Disney and Nickelodeon, but if you give them good film material to work with, you can get a good rising star out of it. You know, we talked about it with Selena Gomez. You know, Monte Carlo wasn't a great movie, but, you know, she had good, you know, Hotel Transylvania gave her an opportunity to actually show off her acting abilities, and it did work out in the film's favor. She was really good, and she's actually, you know, she's one of the more memorable characters in the series. Like, I was feeling the same way about Victoria Justice. You know, her series had come to an end. It's time for her to branch out and prove to everybody that she can actually act. You know, Zac Efron did that once he left High School Musical with 17 Again and Me and Orson Welles. And he's done the smart thing by branching out into indie films. And here, she's not really given a whole lot to do here. She's given a lackluster script. But, you know, I was really hopeful that she could make that transition like Zac Efron did. And, you know, these other actors we talked about. But sadly, she never really did. She just kind of faded out into existence, went back into mostly doing music and all that, but yeah, it's a shame because there was a lot of potential with her. But Jane Levy, let's get back to her for a second because, like I said, really funny show, Suburgatory, which is basically kind of a live-action equivalent of Daria, pretty much. And I love Daria, but like on Suburgatory, she plays like this shy bookworm, but she's much smarter than most of the other people are that live in this new neighborhood that she moved into. But in here, Oh my god, it's the complete opposite with her. Like, I did not feel like she fit this role at all. Like, I'm not saying that she could never be this role in a movie like this, but, like, doing it early in your career, because she was still very early on in her career, this is taking it too far. And I don't like the fact that she basically plays every stereotypical teenage best friend that we've seen in all these bad teenage movies. And, yeah, and Chelsea Handler, like I said, like, I hate this woman. I hate her. Not as a person, but just as an actress and a comedian, because she is not funny. She's annoying. She's a bitch. She's never made me laugh whatsoever. Like, Rebel Wilson at least made me laugh a couple of times, but Chelsea Handler, I don't know what her problem is with her comedy, because it's just not funny whatsoever what she does here. And, like, in this movie, like, she's not funny in here at all. Like, there's nothing about her that made me laugh. I don't find her funny. Like, I don't think it's a problem to say that I don't find people funny. I don't like people with that act. Like, I have my problems with Mila Jovovich, and I have my problems with Chelsea Handler as a comedian. She fucking sucks, plain and simple. And also, the film just feels like a bad ripoff of a CW show. This is a Nickelodeon movie that's trying to rip off the CW, for God's sakes. Like, it's a bad CW show expanded to 2 hours, but then again, this is the creator of Gossip Girl, Josh Schwartz, who directed this movie. So yeah, it makes sense that this feels like a bad CW project. Like, it tries way, way too hard to be raunchy and crude, too. Like, it feels miserably at it. There's literally a point in the film where the film is literally doing nothing but saying dirty words, saying naughty, saying, like, the swear word after swear word after swear word. Like a 15-year-old who's just discovered these words wrote this. Like, it's so badly done. It's the equivalent of somebody juggling a keychain in front of you, except the keychain is swear words all around. Like, it's just like... But again, the biggest problem with the film overall is that it's taking a lot from other movies. The story is a ripoff of Adventures in Babysitting. Adventures in Babysitting is much better than this pile of garbage. And that was a PG-rated movie in 1987. It was a darker film. Not darker, like, extreme. But the comedy in there was darker, but it still fit the mold of a PG-rated family film. People still remember Adventures in Babysitting. Nobody remembers this pile of garbage. And on top of that, this movie has the nerve to rip off Project X with its terrible poster. I mean, just look at these posters. Look at these posters. Like, it's every single character in this feels like carbon copies of characters we've seen in 1,000,000,006 other teenage movies. And it just offended me so much because of how lazy this was. You wasted all these young talents. You tried to be way too raunchy and crude for your own good. It feels much longer than it actually was. And it's being handled by poor direction by someone who's just stick to television. This is right up there with some of the worst movies I've seen this year. Battleship, Won't Back Down. You have to be that special to be as terrible as Battleship. I mean, that's how much I hate this movie. I hate this movie so much. It's a terrible movie. Avoid fun size like the plague. Plain and simple. So why don't we go ahead and wrap our show up with at least the best movie of the week, which really isn't saying a whole lot. This is Chasing Mavericks.
I'll hold my hand.
Honestly, the most impressive thing about this movie isn't even the story, which is actually pretty interesting, but the behind-the-scenes things with this movie, too. We'll get to that in just a second, but this is the story of a real-life surfing phenomenon, Jay Moriarty, played by Johnny Weston, who, when 15 years old, he discovers that the Mystic Maverick surf break, one of the biggest waves on Earth, is not only real, but exists just miles from his Santa Cruz home. He enlists the help of a former local legend, Frosty Henson, played by Gerard Butler, to train him to survive it. As Jay and Frosty embark on their quest to accomplish the impossible, they form a unique friendship that transforms both their lives, and their quest to tame Mavericks becomes about far more than surfing. So what's interesting about this movie is that there's two directors on here, and two notable directors, Michael Apted and also Curtis Hanson. We've talked about a bunch of their movies on here. So what happened was that Curtis Hanson was the one director they had for this, and then Apted was brought in for the final 15 days of shooting because of Hanson's failing health, and it was actually the last film he directed before he passed away in 2016. And it was the second to last film for director Michael Apted before he died in 2021. So these directors are no longer with us. And you have a cast that also includes Elizabeth Shue, Abigail Spencer, and Levin Rabin. I think I pronounced that name correctly, but This movie isn't anything that special overall. It's an interesting story overall, but compared to the other movies we looked at here, this is like Citizen Kane compared to like stuff like Fun Size and Silent Hill Revelation, a movie that I still can't get the title for. I keep thinking it's Revolution, but no, it's Revelation and Cloud Atlas. I mean, this one is definitely the one that's at least trying. Almost works. The performances overall aren't terrible. In fact, I think this is one of Gerard Butler's probably best performances outside of stuff like 300 and How to Train Your Dragon. But yeah, other than that, though, this movie really isn't anything that amazing overall. Even if you're into the whole surfing craze, there's much better surfing movies out there. Like Soul Surfer is one I can think of that's actually really good. It's one we talked about last year, which was really, really good. This one kind of almost gets there, but not enough for me to say it's worth a watch. I mean, if you really want to check it out, a one-time watch might be the best thing for you. Had to get that in there before I started sneezing, because I like sneezed 4 times after that. But the point I'm trying to make here is that for a one-time watch, I think it's fine, but you're never going to want to watch it again after this. It's okay. It's an okay movie. Nothing great, nothing spectacular, but you felt like there was so much more on the table with a film like this. Plus, I mean, I guess for curiosity's sake, if you want to see the last thing Curtis Hanson directed and one of Michael Apted's last films, I think it makes it kind of worth it on that level. But like I said, it's a one-time watch. You're never going to want to watch this again after that. So, anyway, that's Chasing Mavericks. Not a great movie, but hey, it beats the crap out of the other 3 movies we've taken a look at today. I mean, goddamn, I thought we were past the dumping weeks of the year, but I guess not. That was a horrible week of movies overall, but